me out.
It was my stakes, right?
By the way, I think we gave up our privacy and our trust for choices. Just thought I'd throw that in there at the beginning. Because I definitely did. This is a Raspberry Pi, by the way. Hands up if you know Raspberry Pi. Do you know about these or not? Put your hands up if you don't. Okay, so that's a mini computer, fully fledged computer, 35 quid. First time that's ever happened. You can buy a computer for that amount of money. Just need you to know about that before we get going. There's bits missing off that. There's text missing off that. Have you got the other one? The PDF? You found that one for me?
So I think we will come back to the data question after, because I think every single one of us has got a similar dilemma. So this is probably the key part of the discussion later.
And then slide one. Yeah. So all my animations and all my taking my time has all been for nothing, but never mind. High Street, crowdfunded, low-cost, cloud-powered social video. If you want to find out stuff, at Bill Campbell on Twitter, motherboard.com, I did that for things about my background. How do I get to the next page? You can go through each one. Cool. Space for the next one, right? Cool. So I work on a number of projects that sort of holistically all come together, and that's just playing stuff now. Awesome. That's cool. So the first one is Petal, which is co-working spaces, so taking spaces in their natural environment and just building in co-working. Nottingham has got no co-working, they've got hot desking, they don't understand co-working at all. High Street is about awareness, and Cellar 54 is about maker spaces from like little web studios that are not fully fledged studios, because I think studios that set up tend to sit empty, spend a lot of money on setting these studios up, and they don't actually do anything in them. If you want to know more questions, because I thought time was going to be limited, we've got like 7 minutes, we've got a little group me group, starturl.it Pi Street chat, and if you want to know any questions about Pi Street afterwards, or you want to engage with me, then there's a chat channel that runs all the time. So hands up if any of you have got an Amazon Prime account. Wow, really? That you haven't got a Prime account? Wow, okay. I'm gutted. I thought you would do. And keep your hand up if you feel that the High Street experience does not need to change. You don't think it needs to change, but you would because you're disruptive. So these are two places in Nottingham that I frequent quite a lot. They're both family-run businesses. The one on the top, Jack Craig's, quite a hybrid, because they do sort of, it's like a barber shop, but it's got a coffee house in there as well. So I realised loads of people were going in with their partner and saying, I want my hair cut, and the partner was going, I'm off for a coffee. And so they just fused the two things together. Kevin at the bottom here and Dawn, they've run a family business. They've run a really successful restaurant in Nottingham called Sinatra's for years, and they finally got hold of this little shop on the corner. It used to be a guitar shop, but I saw the same 15-year-old trying to play a guitar every Saturday morning. So obviously that guitar shop was not doing pretty well. So I approached both of these guys and said, do you mind if I run a prototype project in both of your spaces, which I paid for? So phase one was a self-funded rollout for two venues. I had this idea of marrying a Raspberry Pi unit and a screen and a piece of cloud software to be able to do their sort of digital interaction between each other. Not marketing, but sort of get to know the people behind the business. Who are the family members? Who is the team? What do they stand for? What are their ethics? Sort of get to know the people behind the business rather than just walking in, taking the product and walking out, actually getting to know who they are, like I did for 8 or 9 months before I asked them if we could put the project in there. After I did it and it worked, every venue has to have some kind of internet connectivity. I have to connect to their router, obviously, to be able to update all the content over the cloud. This obviously opens it up 24/7. I can update anytime. And so then I knew it was going to work, so I went on Kickstarter. We raised $2,500 to fund 10 screens. 6 of them are rolled out. We've got to roll out the other 4. We use this third-party cloud hosting system where all our content goes, all the video and all the pictures, and I can manage that from anywhere. So 24/7. I can make content right here, right now, and upload it, and it'll go on all the screens in each one of the independent stores. So I call this traffic light to Campbell because recently I had to go to the doctors for anxiety and cut out caffeine after 26 years. I've never had to cut out anything in my life, so it's quite a shock to get rid of caffeine. But he said I had to go through this traffic light procedure. So that's pretty much what I did for doing this project. I did it all myself because I just got sick of waiting. There's one thing I am, I'm very much a connector but a disruptor of things. And so I don't wait for people to do stuff, I just go ahead and do it. So the pricing point for the Raspberry Pi I thought was amazing, that all these independents were stressing out about what is the best solution, what computer stuff do I need, and it was just perfect at 35 quid, because it wasn't a risk. You could reuse it for something else, a media player or whatever. You take the SD card out, it's a little SD card on the top, and you can do something else. So it's like a node, really. It's just like a little piece of hardware that just sits in the background. And then we got the funds crowdfunded from the community. Like, we say this thing about we worry about the high street, but if you worry about the high street, go and use the fucking thing. You know, like, people say that, you know, got the high streets all empty. 38% of retail spaces in Nottingham is empty, right? Why is that? Because we don't care about it. We want an experience. None of that stuff is an experience anymore. So I approached my network that I built up over the last 8 years and said, if you trust me, if you believe me, be the community that cares about this community, fund it, so that they don't have to pay for it. None of the places pay for anything. They didn't pay for the installation, they didn't pay for the hardware, it's all free. It's called giving a shit for your high street. That's the way I look at it. Obviously, being on my own, just a single person, kind of, the speed of it is a bit of a red light because it takes a lot of time. But you do see a relationship change with your community when you walk in and give something for free and they go, it's pretty cool. And they start to get to know the other people in the network. So the Pi Street is not a cost to any of the independents. I've just mentioned that. It's not about commercial advertising. I'm not doing this to make money. It's more like a social art project for me. It's not a replacement for marketing efforts. I think a lot of these businesses, they set up business, they get really excited about it, but they really don't know how to market themselves. And I think Eva picked it up about connectivity. They don't know what they need. They don't know how to integrate it. They're not IT people. They've got a passion for their business, whatever it may be. And it's not about automation. This is not about sticking loads of crappy adverts in front of you like you get in the post office about some MOT centre down the road. I don't give a shit about the MOT centre down the road. I know a place to take my car to. I just do. It's a bit like when people ring you up about double glazing. Who's got no double glazing in their house? Like, who are these people that you have to have people ring you up to see if you want double glazing or not? I just don't work that out. So phase one was very much about a pilot of getting it out there, just proving a concept. But this is where it really, really takes off to me. Is that, is Tom here tonight from Near Desk? He's at the back. Good. I'm talking to you after. So I've had this idea about rolling out these screens at the YHA in the countryside to where all the kids and parents go at the weekend, and it's actually quite a sombre affair in the countryside. You've got this really nice, mellow, solar-powered building. And I was thinking, if you knew that what was going on locally, in the events locally, and how much you can spend on a day out with your kids, you know, if you knew it was going to be 15 or 20 or 25 pounds, and you could go here for 2 hours, and they can learn kickboxing, and they can do this. I thought, that'd be awesome. If I could get up in the morning at this YHA and find out all this information. It doesn't exist, and I want it to exist. Near Desk is a company that we just started to use for petrol, for checking people in with a card. It's sort of per hour. We set a price per hour for people to use a co-working space. Fantastic technology, Tom. It works really well. They've got 180 places. Tom doesn't know it yet, but I want to put the Pi Street in all the 180 places that he's got across the country. Because I think we can activate all those co-working spaces, the people in the co-working spaces, and advertise internally to those as well. But the big thing here, and I think this is kind of genius on my part, I am a bit of a gloater, I want to build a big data app store. We got so used to app stores. We buy tons of stuff. Free apps, all the different apps, and I'm sorry you have to have loads of apps, especially for dog food, that's weird. I want to partner with local towns and councils to take their big data, right, get local developers to build apps that plug into the Pi Street. Because every town and city has got different data. So get the local developers at a hack day to take all that data, make plug-in modules that you can then roll out in different regions. So one of them might be sensors. So footfall. You have a little sensor on a window, you work out how many people have walked past. And it puts up a little slide at the end of the hour, 800 people have walked past, you have 20 people in the shop, maybe you need to do some more advertising. Or maybe you need to get to know who those people are. Give them a little bit of a nudge. Another thing I thought of is recruiting local unemployed, which is a massive topic. Everybody's banging on about how we're going to get people back to work. We can use something like Mechanical Turk. You might not have heard of it, but it's an Amazon project for small bits of jobs that you do. You set up a little job, you say, I want to advertise my event this weekend or my service or my brand. We just do little jobs, get people to have the template and they build the little assets, they submit it and we pay them. They can work from home. But ultimately I want to build a real-time infographic engine. So think about it from a perspective of different screens around a city. Nottingham's having £50 million spent on their train station. I want to have a big screen up there in the train station where we have voting and city-wide projects so that we can vote on the interaction for different places, what works, what doesn't work, what's too expensive. And I have to put this in here because Graham Gardner, if he's watching or tweeting, he just went, so what? Yeah, and so I have to put a so what slide in there because it really stuck with me. It's not so what, okay. The local bids, which is in every town and city, I don't know if there's any bid people in here or connected to the bid because I'm going to upset you now. They were going around to all the independent stores and saying, we're going to put a screen in and you're going to pay for it. So they're going to charge them 300 quid each to put these monitors in. And they haven't got any money. Like, how are we supposed to be supporting the high street if we're asking them for money? I don't get that. It just doesn't make any logical sense whatsoever. So that's why we did it for free, just to be really disruptive and say it's not about the cost, it's about giving a shit. But I want to do social media on a city-wide scale. Wouldn't it be great if you had a city full of university students who were your advocates? 68,000 students in Nottingham over 2 universities. They're bringing £1 billion a year. First year, as freshers, pick 100 of them who are really sort of digital savvy, vote them up and down, have an online system for these guys, turn them into advocates. Austin, Texas do it every year in March. They have this massive big swell of online stuff because of South by Southwest. And every town and city can do the same. Like I said, I can remotely install stuff so the shop doesn't have to be open. Hartley's leaves their monitor on at night so it just scrolls by. We can do time-sensitive stuff, so you can do sort of mapping and directions and train disruptions, anything like that as people are sort of wandering around pissed as fast. But it's a foundation for big data add-on apps as well. You know, the idea is that people can get paid for the apps they develop for a town centre. And I think if we're going to get the local councils to understand the demographic of developers and local coders locally, then we need to show them that it can help the environment. And I think, yeah, that's me, I think. Yeah, cheers.